public humiliation, silent control. You'll never amount to anything. My dad didn't say it quietly. He said it into the air, into the middle of the backyard barbecue, where cousins were laughing, uncles were debating politics, and neighbors were pretending not to listen. But they heard. Everyone heard. The music kept playing, but softer now. Conversations thinned out around us. Attention shifted without looking obvious. He pointed at me with the same hand that held his drink. No direction. No real plan. Just floating. Floating. As if I was drifting while everyone else was building something solid. A few relatives exchanged glances. Not shocked. Just uncomfortable. Because this wasn't the first time. My dad had a way of motivating through humiliation. He believed pressure created diamonds. Sometimes it just creates distance. You think smiling and staying quiet makes you deep? He continued. It makes you weak. Weak. Interesting choice of word. I could have defended myself, listed projects, explained strategies, pulled out numbers he didn't know existed. But explanations in public aren't strength. They're performance. And I don't perform for people who've already decided the script. I took a slow breath, not to calm down, to slow the moment down, because reactions are expensive, and I don't waste currency like that. You'll see, he added, louder now. 5 years from now, you'll still be nowhere. 5 years. I almost thanked him for the timeline. The crowd was fully silent now, waiting. People love a confrontation, as long as it's not theirs. I looked at him carefully, not with anger, not with embarrassment, just clarity. He wasn't attacking my future. He was projecting his fear. Parents sometimes measure their success through their children's speed. If you don't move fast enough, they panic. And panic sounds like criticism. I smiled, not sarcastically, not defiantly, calmly, and I said, maybe. The word confused him. No defense, no argument, no dramatic walk-off. Just maybe. It disarmed the moment, because when someone predicts your failure loudly, they expect resistance. Agreement makes them uncomfortable. He scoffed. You think this is funny? No, I replied evenly. I think it's early. That was it. No speech. No explanation. Just perspective. Laughter didn't return immediately, but the tension shifted. He shook his head and turned away, dismissing me like he always did when I refused to escalate. But here's what he didn't understand. People who shout predictions usually stop watching before the results arrive. I didn't leave the party angry. I stayed. I helped clean up. I spoke normally, because humiliation only sticks if you accept it. And I didn't. They thought he had just defined my future. They had no idea I had just scheduled it. Timeline in motion. 5 years is a long time when someone says you'll be nothing. It's also enough time to become something undeniable. I didn't mark the date on a calendar. I didn't replay his words every morning like fuel. I didn't need revenge motivation. I needed structure. The morning after the barbecue, nothing dramatic changed. I didn't post quotes. I didn't cut people off. I didn't make announcements about proving everyone wrong. I simply tightened my life. Earlier mornings, clearer goals, measured risks. If I was floating, I decided to float with direction. While others chased titles, I chased leverage. I learned how money compounds, how skills stack, how relationships built quietly often outperform loud networking. I failed privately, lost small amounts before I could lose big ones, partnered wrong once, corrected fast, took criticism from mentors who actually had results, not volume. Meanwhile, family gatherings stayed predictable, still figuring things out. Found your path yet? I answered calmly every time. Working on it. No sarcasm, no defense, because explaining progress to people who only respect finished products is inefficient. My dad didn't mention the barbecue again. He didn't need to. His sentence hung in the air at every event like background music. You'll never amount to anything. The difference now? It didn't echo. It scheduled me. Year 1, skill building. Year 2, small wins. Year 3, stability. Year 4, expansion. By year 5, I wasn't loud. I was positioned. Income steady. Investments structured. A team forming quietly around projects I once built alone. My calendar filled not with noise, but with demand. The irony? I never felt like I was chasing success. I felt like I was constructing distance. Distance from needing approval. Distance from defending potential. Distance from reacting. At a family dinner one evening, my cousin mentioned my name casually. I heard he's doing well. My dad didn't respond immediately. He just nodded once. That nod said more than his yelling ever did. But I didn't lean into it. Because here's the truth about timelines. When someone predicts your failure publicly, they rarely track your progress privately. They only notice when the outcome contradicts their certainty. And I wasn't done yet. 5 years had passed quietly. But the conversation, it hadn't come back around. Not yet. They were still remembering the sentence he shouted. I was preparing the moment it would return. The return of the sentence. It happened at another family gathering. Same backyard, different energy. This time, I wasn't standing near the edge of the crowd. People were coming up to me, asking questions, real ones, about business, about decisions, about how I scaled so quickly. My dad was nearby, listening. No drink in his hand this time, just quiet. At some point, my uncle laughed and said, "Remember when you said he'd never amount to anything?" The air shifted, not tense, curious. All eyes moved to him. 5 years ago, he had volume. Today, he had reflection. He looked at me for a long second. Then he exhaled. "I was wrong," he said. "No joke, no softening, just fact. I didn't step forward, didn't give a speech, didn't replay the humiliation. I just smiled slightly and replied, 'It was early.'" A few people laughed, but he didn't. He nodded, because he understood what that meant now. You can't measure a future from a moment, and you can't rush someone who's building in silence. That day, I didn't feel victorious. I felt distant from needing his approval at all. He thought he had defined my limits in front of everyone. He didn't realize he had given me a timeline, and I kept it. After that day, something subtle changed. My dad didn't become overly proud. He didn't brag about me to everyone. He didn't rewrite history. He just stopped predicting my future. And that was enough. At the next gathering, when someone asked me about a new project, he didn't interrupt. He didn't correct. He didn't add his opinion. He listened. That was new. Later that evening, while people were leaving, he stood beside me near the gate. "I pushed you hard," he said, not defensive, not apologetic, just reflective. "I know," I replied. There was a pause. "I thought pressure would speed you up." He added, "Sometimes," I said calmly, "it just makes people quieter." He nodded slowly, absorbing that. We didn't hug. We didn't dramatize the moment. But respect had shifted, not because I argued, not because I proved him wrong loudly, because I outlasted the prediction. He once shouted that I'd never amount to anything. Now, he measured his words, and I didn't need him to say anything more. Silence, this time, wasn't dismissal. It was recognition.